Hey everyone! I wanted to cover how you can stay motivated and keep on track during a game's development from start to release. It's very easy to be excited and motivated at the start of a project. Everything is new and everything is fresh. You have features to implement, art to make, and gameplay to program. Everything seems to come together quickly, and you're really happy with the progress. After a while, something changes. It becomes more difficult to work on the project and other ideas become more appealing. Maybe we've chosen the wrong idea. Maybe I should just put this down as a prototype and move on to the next one. Sometimes this may be the cause, but what happens when you've done it 3, 6, or 8 times? At this point, we might be in a little bit of a spiral, forever stuck at the start of making games, but never finishing them. I said at the start that I wanted to cover how you can stay motivated. Motivation is great, and we get really inspired, but to sustain development, we need discipline. From my perspective, having discipline is the key to achieving anything in your life. For example, let's say you wanted to lose weight. If you set 4 days of the week to work out, you may be motivated at the start to do this, but in order to sustain the training schedule, you'll need discipline to follow through the same 4 days every week. And eventually one day, through your hard work, you'll see results. Having a perspective shift from working when motivated to working when you've scheduled it in and being disciplined to work is a much better idea. So now that we've covered that being disciplined can allow you to finish making a game, let's cover a few methods to stay on track. My first method is to set goals and milestones. I like to have my big yearly goals and then my monthly goals that I use as stepping stones towards my big goals. Basically, if I can achieve my monthly goals, then I'll reach the yearly goal. I even break it down a step further into daily goals, which help me get to my monthly goal. And that all begins with, what do I want to achieve today? Every day I write down around 4 things that I want to achieve. It could be working out, working on my game, doing a lesson in Japanese, anything that helps me work towards my monthly goal. The act of writing it down really helps. I've found that writing things down can really make a massive change in your life. Now I usually write down my 3 to 4 things in a simple sentence, and you're probably wondering that working on my game doesn't really seem like enough information, and you're correct. My journal allows me to quickly keep track of what I did or didn't do on a particular day, and if I see a pattern I can change what I'm doing. But in order to stay on track during my game's development, I need to use a form of project management. And for this, in the past I've used Asana, and I've also messed around with Trello, but the other day I found a really amazing tool that I'm using for my upcoming game. This tool is called Hack and Plan. It's a project management tool, but unlike Asana and Trello, which I used to use, it's purely focused on game development, and I want to show you exactly what I mean by that and why I recommend using this tool. So I'm just going to quickly make a new project that we can all use. So let's think about a name. Let's just call this Crash Bandicoot Indie version, something like that. And let's give it a description, sorry. So this project is an indie version of Crash Bandicoot. We want to remaster the graphics and gameplay. So let's assume that in this project they want to achieve that. And then there's some general information. In terms of cost metric, this is a way to estimate how long each task will take, which I'll get into a bit later, but hours are pretty good. So once we get that down, we get to this screen, and you'll see we have members, so you can add people. We have milestones, all this cool stuff. So the first thing we want to do is quickly edit this milestone, and a great idea usually before fully working on a game is to get a 5-minute playable or a prototype out. So let's say my first milestone, instead of my first milestone, it would be Crash, Indie Crash prototype. And we're right in here. For our first milestone, we want to get a 5-minute prototype out to the public to build hype. Something like that. And let's pick a due date. So let's say this team wants to get it done in about a month, something like this day here. And let's say they're starting today, they're just going to dive into it today. So this is how much time they have to achieve this milestone, and you can have a lot of other milestones. Now, once you have a milestone, you need something else, and you need to know exactly what's the day-to-day work that the team's going to do. And that's what this section called boards is for. So this is where you plan your overall milestones, and you can keep track of how the project is going. So at this point, we are nowhere near complete. Over here on the boards, we can actually, with all these sections, create tasks. So if you're a programmer, you can have programming tasks, art tasks, design, writing, all of these various areas here, which is really nice. This is the major difference. If you look between Asana and Trello and this, it's pre-set up for game development, which is really nice. So let's say we have a design task. And part of making this prototype, we need to design exactly what are we going to change about the game? Why is our indie Crash Bandicoot prototype more interesting than the original Crash Bandicoot? So let's say the designer needs to plan a list of features for the game. So plan feature list. Before they begin, they really need this feature list. So this is an urgent task. And you know what? It's going to take this designer around 4 hours to get this done. This is the name of the designer, and it's in gameplay. Because it's so urgent, it's going to be due. They're going to work on it all night, so they want it done by tomorrow. So we're going to select that, and you could write a description here. This designer knows what they're doing, but you could actually write something for the team. Do not start work on anything else until the feature list is completed. We already have the game design document, but we need a list of improvements we're going to implement over the new game, the old game, before working on our new version. Something like that. So we'll hit create. And now we have a task. Now let's say really quickly, we have another task. And this is to do level design. So let's say world 1, a level 1. This is pretty important, but it's not as urgent. It's of high importance, but it's not an urgent task, because you can do the level design a little bit later. Because you don't have any models yet, you don't have any programming done yet. The design of level 1 is going to take, remember, you're going to design it, you're going to get the assets, you're going to mess around making the level, playtest it. So let's say it takes about 12 hours. And we put level, design, high importance, that's the designer, and we don't have anything yet. So we can't actually start it for a long time. So let's say we get very basic prototype blockout art by this Monday over here. And here we write, the goal of this task is to design and develop level 1 in a prototype level 1 up to prototype quality. After this task is complete, the level artists can go in and implement all of the art and lighting. So this design is going to work heavily with the programmers to get this level up and running. And let's go back to all tasks. So what we see here is that we have an urgent task and we have an high importance task, but this, if you see here, this due date is sooner than this one. They need it done. So what we can do is throw this into planned. And the really cool thing is you can keep track of what you're in progress of and what's planned. If you're working solo, you should only have one task in progress at a time. And then you can see all your planned tasks over here. If you're working in a team, you'll have multiple in progress tasks at a time. And what's good is that the project manager or the person doing production, they can see what's going on. So let's say the programmers have implemented all of the functionality for the game, but they have a bunch of planned tasks where they have to implement the art assets. And let's say the artists have done all the concept art, but over here, they haven't even started the models. That means there's obviously a bottleneck, and they may need, sorry about that, they may need more artists on the team. That's what these tools can be used for. But if you're just a solo dev, like me, you can use it the way I'm using it here. And a few other cool things, you can track the time you're working on it, and you can also add in subtasks, which is something I really like. So here I write that we need a feature list. So we can break this down even further. What's in the feature list? Well, let's have a think. We may need the movement mechanics, combat mechanics. Let's make up new ones for the new HD version. Enemy types. And let's say that's all this person needs. That's all this designer really needs for now, for this new feature list. They have all these subtasks that they can tick off, and they can also log the work. So let's say it took me three hours all up. So I can log 3 hours. I can go back to all tasks, and I can say this task is complete. So I can throw it into here. And I don't want to log any additional hours because it only took me 3. And now I've finished that task. And the really cool thing is, you can imagine you'll have all these design tasks done, all these art, all these programming. You can keep track of everything you're doing. So that's why I really like this tool. It's very visual. It's very simple to use. It's got a lot of drop and drag. They even bother to program in a right click so you can do things here, because usually you just get this right click. I really like that. These subtasks are amazing. It's a staple of all project management software, but I just like how simple it is to use here. Like everything I need is in here. Comments, the work logs, attachments I can attach. Like after I finished the feature list, I could attach it, and then programmers could click in here, get the attachment, or I could just put a Google Drive link in here. It's just super useful. So everything in this hack and plan tool is very useful, and I would really recommend it whether you're 1 person, 10 people, 30, etc. It's a really useful tool for everyone. By knowing your goals and milestones for the year, keeping track of your daily routine, and being disciplined enough to follow through the daily routine, you should have no problem with making progress, and eventually reaching whatever goals you've set. It might seem like a lot of planning and management, but if you really want something, you have to put the work in. I believe that most things in life come down to our mindset. If you can change your mindset, you can definitely change your life, how your life will turn out. Try to become the type of person who finishes game projects. I've done it for 3 mobile games so far, and now I'm working towards a bigger PC game. If I can achieve it on a smaller scale and work towards it on a bigger scale, there is no reason you can't as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you got something useful out of it, and I'll see you in the next video.